Moral of the story is Buck was there.
With those.
Yeah, bedded right on the cornfield, and I kind of looked at Damon and like fist bump.
Yeah. While all this is happening, we're running through like thorns, and our adrenaline's so high we have no clue what our feet are in for right now.
Nothing made sense at that time, and
Yeah.
we were just going.
It was like go mode. It was like putting cruise control, just go.
And I popped up and drilled him, and he ran 20 yards and tipped over.
And all of a sudden I just see the bow up in the air.
And I just screamed. It was electric. Me and Damon went wild.
Yeah, I could have cried.
It was so relieving. It didn't even feel real.
Just hearing your guys' story right now is like giving me chills.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To have like your buddy there, and it doesn't matter what tension you had or what fights you had before. Like
everything
that never
goes away.
happened.
Everything goes away.
And the way you captured your guys' excitement is great. It's amazing. And so it really brings back a lot of those emotions. You know, it gets you pumped up, gets you fired up.
Yep.
So good job.
Yeah.
Good job on getting good footage of that. Welcome to the Range Podcast. I'm Ricky Bruley, and with me is Jake Hollywood Iverson. Join us at the Archery Range, where we'll tell stories from the hunt, discuss technical bow shooting tactics and gear, and pick the brains of some of the most successful people to ever shoot a bow. Whether you're about to shoot that X for the win or send an arrow at a trophy buck, this podcast is for you. The Range Podcast is brought to you by Vapor Trail Archery, makers of the best bowstrings money can buy, originators of limb-driven arrow rest technology, and innovators of Stokerized stabilizer systems. Welcome to the Range, everybody. I'm Ricky Bruley, and joining me as always is target archer extraordinaire and turkey slayer Hollywood.
No.
He doesn't have a mic right now, so you can't hear him. We got kind of a ratchet operation going on here because we got 4 people and only 3 mics.
It works.
Wasn't able to get it all function, but we'll make this work. So bear with us on that. Again, thank you all for joining us for this episode titled "The Turkey Struggle Bus." You can also find this episode on our YouTube channel, the Vapor Trail YouTube channel. So please head on over and subscribe. Tagging along with us today is our special guest, Damon, Wolfe, and Griffen Laaveg of All41 Creative. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Just ended high school officially.
Nice.
So I'm happy about that.
Last day.
Yeah, very, very free feeling.
Yeah.
But
right
it's
on.
good.
And Griff, you got 1 year left.
Yeah, 1 year to go, and then I'm free.
That's awesome. Oh, man, I remember those days. Those were the days, weren't
Yeah.
they, Hollywood? Well, y'all have been seeing some content being posted on our social channels, and a lot of the content's being created by these guys. Both are very talented young men, and we're very happy to have them as part of the team. There's a couple reasons why I wanted to have these guys on today. One, because this season showed them the struggle of bow hunting turkeys, and hence the title of the episode, The Turkey Struggle Bus. But they also like to hunt mule deer in North Dakota, which is a pastime that Hollywood and I both enjoyed a few times. So let's start out with the turkeys, and this, guys, by no means is an attempt to shame you.
No shame taken.
I think that we learn the best from our failures. So just tell us a bit about the struggles in the turkey woods this year, what seemed to work, what didn't, and what you would do differently.
Yeah, you want me to go first or you?
You can go ahead. You had your first mess up, so you start right there.
Right on the spot. Okay. So I guess it started as like, dang, we're finally here. All the prep. We got our reapers set up. We're ready to go. Like you look forward to it every year. You're so excited. That like turkey hype comes every year for me, whether I'm bow hunting or gun hunting. But so first hunt we got out and birds are fired up, and you have the camera set up, and I'm first up to bat. I think that was kind of like you saying like, hey, I shot a mule deer, here you go. And so I'm sitting there with my bow, and he's like, hey, look up, and there's a tom right on our field, fired off. There's a few others too that we can hear around us. And they come down to the field, and they're putting on a show, fired up, gobbling, and I was like, here we go, guys. Like, it's on camera, like, first morning, like, we're about to do it. This is what every turkey hunter dreams of. They're fired up. We're light yelping here and there, and I was like, this bird's going to come in, get him on camera. And all morning, toms were filtering into our field, fired up all morning, and they just got bunched up in a group, would not come in. And rain was supposed to hit, and we just kind of sat it out because it wasn't raining. And then they had kind of all filtered off, and I was like, dang, what's going on here? And finally, so we got bored. So we kind of got bored of our hunt, because turkey hunting, normally you have like 1 to 2 hours, and you're like, all right, let's go eat breakfast.
Yeah.
So we walked around. We actually picked up a shed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dinker, but it
just
was
a little guy,
it was kind of like, yeah, shed season's still going. Let's have fun.
Those are the good ones, man. They're like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah. We're walking. We're like, okay, let's go grab our bows. We're done. Let's go eat. You know, like Taco Bell's our go-to for sure.
Oof, man, that's dangerous in a hunting blind.
It is. You normally eat it after you're done hunting.
Yeah.
But we're walking back, and Griffen goes, man, there's a tom right in our field. And so we're set up on the ground. We have like this little ground. We didn't even have a blind. We were just kind of sitting with our face masks on, hoping and praying.
Yeah.
This tom filtered into our field, and it kind of started walking towards us. So I got my bow ready. He has the camera, and the tom kind of just like saw our decoys, would gobble here and there, and just putzed in. And finally it got to like 30 yards, was checking out the decoy, but would not come in. And I don't know, I got antsy. I got impatient. I should not have done what I did, but we're sitting there, and I go, 30 yards, it's not ideal, but I've taken this shot. At other animals before, I've practiced it. My broadheads are big. Let's send it. I was confident. He was recording. I drew back, took my time. What was interesting about that is I was freezing, like I was cold, and I could barely, like, I was shivering. He was looking at me. My arrow tip was like, just
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's beautiful.
I'm like, I'm not going to shoot this turkey because, like, I'm impatient. It's almost like I need it to, like, survive because I can't feel my hands. So I draw back, and, seeing, like, past turkey shots and kind of seeing where to hit. I aimed right where I thought I should hit him, watched my lead knock sink into him. By now, it's raining slightly, so the arrow went through the rain, hit him right in what I thought was the boiler room. Had full confidence, like going to pick up the arrow, that the bird would be laying dead in the woods after it flew off. We recorded it all, and there's no bird. I checked the arrow, feathers, a little bit of blood, thinking it's from breast, but it was just, we tracked it for probably 45 minutes after to give respect to the animal. Found no blood, no bird. So that was like opening day, first like hour of hunting. Like one of those situations where if you're sitting there with a shotgun, like you're already eating breakfast, you're already walking back to the truck 25 pounds heavier. But, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's a mistake. We post it because we didn't want to hide anything. We posted it, showed people like what happens when you're turkey hunting. And yeah, so like still high hopes, that sucked, but still high hopes going into the season. And
that shot that Griff got with the camera is unbelievable, and it's actually part of our commercial that comes up in the middle of the YouTube portion. And it's just how the mist is coming off that arrow is just amazing. You can see that lighted knock, and you can see it kind of disappear. And obviously when you play it back, you're like, okay, it's not a lethal shot, right? But it's that reminder, right? Again, we're going back to the failures, right? So you have that reminder where like you go back and you can watch it, and you're like, okay, now I know that's going to play over and over and over again in your head from here on out. So and also, great, we could use it for our commercial, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. It was just like I was editing it, and like, in the moment you're like, man, I smoked it. And like, that's one of the biggest things for me as a hunter is like, I just need to take my time, because like I shoot and then I kind of freak out a little bit, and it's like in those moments every time. And that's why I'm thankful for him, because I have this like rapid, like, oh my gosh, this just happened, like attitude, where he's more like, relax. Life is still, like, we're still good, like, breathe. And like, that's good to have on hunting trips, because like I freak out and I just go like bonkers, and he's like, just calm down, we'll find the turkey if it's dead. If it's not dead, we're not going to find it anyway. So yeah, it didn't hurt like a ton until I started editing it and color grading it. For all you camera nerds, like once you add the color and you slow it down, it's just like, oh, like if it could have just been like that far to the right, it would have been like an insane video. But yeah, that was like how we started, which isn't a really great way to start. And then from there, it just like, I don't know, I don't even remember, like turkey season just flies right by us. Like it just happens, and then it's gone. And I mean, there's multiple other stories I could tell too of mishaps.
I think where it all went wrong is we got a little cocky, and I decided to put a decap on. Mm-hmm. And that's when it really got bad, because we'd set up and decoys at 15 yards, and we couldn't figure out what was really making them mad, what would get our turkeys in to range. Mm-hmm. And we tried all sorts of different decoys, all that, different setups, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
We couldn't get one into 15 where we wanted them. And then it came to, we had multiple hunts where they'd 25, 30 yards, and with a decap I was not ready to do that. But the whole deal was we could have killed a bunch of turkeys. Damon could have shot turkeys that were beyond 15, but we wanted that 15 yard decap shot, because that would have been really good footage, and that was our whole goal there.
Right. Yeah, and another big thing was, like, when you film, like, his schedule and my schedule, like, they don't, like, always go together. Like, when we're filming, we still have to film and get, like, the job done, but at the same time, we still have our lives that we have to live.
Sure.
So, like, there was situations where I'd have, like, birds, like, you know, like, where you just had, if you would have just had that camera guy, there would have been that slight possibility that it might have worked. Mm-hmm. For example, I had a spot, well, no, I still have the spot, in a certain area near my home, which is like 10 minutes away. So I can, like, book it out there, see if there's birds. If not, I can leave. Well, there was birds there on the bottom side of this hill, and I figured I'll set up on the backside. And I was actually planning on going there with a blind to set up for just the rest of the morning and kind of see what putts through. But those birds were already out there, so I grabbed the camera on the tripod, set up lav mics. Like, I was freaking out. That's another thing, is, like, if you would have been there, it might have been a little bit more calm and relaxed of a hunt.
Yeah.
But I got set up. I called this Tom. He fires off. Like, I waited a little bit. He fired off again, closer, fired off. And then I, like, started calling to the hen. I got the hen all riled up. Mm-hmm. And then the hen poked its head, looked at my decoy, and kind of just walked in, you know. Then all of a sudden I saw that Tom. And he saw that decoy and just booked it in. And, like, we were talking before this hunt, like, this is the footage we want. Like, bird running in, beating it up, killing it, like, walking out. Like, that's, like, the dream hunt when it comes to turkey hunting. But so all of a sudden I'm self-filming this turkey, and he's running in. He's at 18 yards in, like, less than 5 minutes of sitting down. And I'm just sitting there. He's beating it up, which you can see on our Instagram, that footage of the slow-mo of him beating that up. And I went to draw, and my top limb hit this branch because I didn't have time to set up a blind. It hit the top branch. The hen spotted me. Tom saw me, and they booked it.
Yeah.
And that was just one of those hunts where it's like, if we had a blind, like, every hunt we've been on, it was just like, what if? Yeah. It was never like, oh, we did it, which I think is just a part of turkey hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of goes back to the episode previous, like we were talking about, where Johnny said even the most experienced hunters run into this with turkeys. Like, they can spin on a dime and start patterning completely different or doing something completely different. So, the big question is, what do you think that you would do differently next year? Like, what's the big thing that stands out?
Do you want to go? Because I know my answer.
Honestly, next year might be a little bit better with Damon not being in school. Obviously, I'll still be in school, which it's going to be hard to set up our schedules. But
you'll be skipping for sure.
Yeah, I'll skip some school to kill some turkeys. But I think, honestly, if the weather wasn't the way it was, I think we'd have done a lot better right away. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot I would change. I think we had a plan. We stuck to it. We were like, we want a bird in the decoys if we're going to shoot it. So we stuck to that. That held us back a little bit, but we wanted to be dedicated and have good content to put out. Right. So
yeah, and that's the thing, is, like, we've both shot turkeys. We've both gotten that, like, excitement from shooting one. And this year with, like, camera equipment and running the page, we wanted to get, like, that perfect shot. And that required doing the decap, slow motion stuff. So that put a halt, like a end to a lot of possible turkey kills.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how difficult it is to film and be successful.
Filming an animal get shot is like killing twice. Like, you have to get on camera and you have to shoot it. So
I tried for the longest time, and finally I'm like, I'm not going to screw around with cameras anymore. I just, and I was able to kind of enjoy my time a little bit more. And again, like, you've got a much deeper passion for photography. You guys do. You know what I mean? I've always kind of been just a jack of all trades, so I've never really gotten super deep into certain things aside from archery. So, and some of the technical stuff, you know, a lot of things are, a lot of the cameras are much more user friendly. The interfaces are a lot better than what they used to be. Yeah. So that helps out too. But yeah, that having being successful in killing an animal and also getting it on camera is definitely tough. You guys got a tough job ahead of you for sure.
Yeah, I never understood that excitement until I like filmed him kill a couple of things. It's like once you get that kill shot, you're just like, even as the camera guy, there's just a array of emotion that comes out. Even though you didn't sling the arrow, you're still like a part of that hunt. Yeah. And being able to look back at it is my favorite part. Yeah. And being able to create an experience like in real life and then being able to go back and see it visually like on socials, like that's awesome. I constantly find myself scrolling and looking at past posts and experiences and being able to capture the raw experience and not so much like the fake stuff is more what I like as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome, man. Well, next year.
Yeah. What I'm going to change next year is I'm buying a gun tag.
Yeah.
And I'm taking out first weekend.
We can do that. I'll stick to the bow.
Yeah, I just, since I find more passion like filming, I just want to focus on filming next year. Like this year or next year, I just want to get my gun tag, kill my bird, and just focus on filming. Because trying to film and hunt, you kind of like half-ass it in a way. Even though it's still good quality production, you're still kind of half-assing it. So being able to just fill my tag and then go full swing with him is going to be what I want to do, because we'll be able to make something out of it. Yeah.
Well, and like I was telling you before the season started, the reason I like to get the gun tag, it limits your time. But if you can kind of observe, you know, the weather patterns and how things are, you know, how much snow have we had, how late did we have snowpack, because that always plays a role. And so that can kind of help you determine what season you want to hunt in. And I, based on my prediction, I picked C, and I was wrong, you know, because the weather was horrible and they still weren't really quite responding the way that I would have liked them to. But that's the beauty with the gun tag, is you can still use a bow. Yeah. And not only during that first season, but then the last two, you know, so you've got both options, but it definitely limits your time, you know. But I started getting away from trying to get in on the first couple of weeks, just because, one, there's so much pressure, and two, usually the snowpack pushes their breeding back, and the weather pushes their breeding back. And so I've never had good experiences early season, but you guys obviously did. You've got good ground that you can hunt, so that helps too. So
well, and that's the thing, is after this season is I have pretty good confidence next year in any season I buy a tag in. Like preferably like weather. I'm gonna look at the weather, but like every weekend we were getting on a decent amount of birds. There was better weekends than others, but
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think we got excited. We went in a lot earlier than we should have. As soon as season kicked in, we were out and going,
freaking out,
and
I would have been too, for the record.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you wait all winter, and then once that opening day comes, you're like, where's the first gobble? Yeah. Right. And especially the first couple of days leading up to the first hunt, you're roosting birds, you're driving around, seeing them starting to strut a little bit, and that's what gets me going.
Yeah. And we kept going on all of our other properties, and we hunted like most of our options right away, just trying to get a bird killed. And I think we messed up because we were in there before they were even fired up. Yeah. And to do what we wanted to do, we needed fired up birds to come into the decoys and beat the crap out of it. So
they already figured us out.
Yeah.
Well, Hollywood, as we mentioned in the previous episode, you worked pretty hard this year, and you finally made it happen, bud.
Just maybe.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
So how'd that all go down? Honestly, what kept getting you up at 4:00 in the morning every day? I mean, because that's tough.
That big old fan.
Yeah, right.
But I'll go deeper into it.
Dem gobblers.
I'm part of the whole team with Struggle Bus with these guys. I mean, it was awesome. We all struggled
all season.
Did you guys hunt public land at all?
No.
Okay, so it's private.
Yeah.
It's private. Okay, yeah. Well, on the last episode we went over most of that. I was doing public land grind, and it was pretty tough.
Public
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It was keeping me going. 4 a.m. was just having that tail fan, but and like Damon said, you come out of winter and it's just like now we're going, like something to chase again. Yeah, I did a couple more public land stints, and it was just, I don't know, just wasn't producing. The gobbles were just kind of going away.
Stupid turkeys.
Yeah, just dumb. But yeah, I mean, I had some opportunities for private land. I alluded to that in the last episode, and hit up the one. Turkeys didn't work there at all. And then went to the other, and that was the success. But
What Johnny calls the promised land.
yeah, the promised land. I was offered to go there. So, but yeah, I was just gonna say that, like on the public land stuff, it was just so pressured. Where like next year when I do things differently, I might honestly try to go really early. I don't know if that's going to kick me in the butt. Like, I'm still new to this. I'm asking everyone. Like, I don't know, because my public land, it was heavily pressured, like, more toward the middle and the end, where I was just seeing dudes all the time. And I think that cold weather might kick some guys out of there, fair weather hunters. So I was just thinking maybe they'll save me next year. Maybe I'll get them when they're done. I don't know. But
Are you going to do that with a shotgun or a bow?
Oh, hell
early.
No.
Bow?
Guns are only for the ducks, man.
Oh, I feel like a wimp now.
Yeah, no, I'm a little more hardcore, I think. A little more sick than I think most.
Sick for it?
I'm, definitely. Sick of gear, baby. Yeah, no, the snowpack was a big thing, though. Like this year, it was so deep. Like the beginning of the year, it's still like 3 feet deep. Like 1 week before season, it's like this is gonna screw our whole season up.
Yeah, it was wild.
But yeah, I ran into a lot of problems with hens and toms. But yeah, this last weekend, finally tagged out, got her done. But I feel like not as amped up about it because this is the private land, and I'm just like, man, the whole journey was for public, but whatever, I'll take a Jake at the end. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Turkey's a turkey, man. I don't care.
I'm stoked. I'm gonna eat one of the breasts tonight. So
Nice.
I cooked up a mean turkey last year, and I'm just like, I'm excited for that again. So
Yeah.
This last weekend I just went out. It was hot as heck. Had all the bug spray. I was sponsored by Sawyer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sawyer sponsored with a 50 gallon drum of permethrin for you.
That's all you could smell was just bug spray just emanating from me. And then I still forgot my thermocell in the Forerunner. Like, oh my God, what an idiot. Like, I get down there and no face mask, no thermocell. Like, here we go again.
And all that stuff does is you still get like 50 mosquitoes on you at a time, but you just don't have 1,000 on you at a time.
Right. Yeah. And so like just my wrist, like they were trying to get to me, but they weren't. And like my pants were just soaked with it too. So I was doing pretty good, but yeah, I just set up the same 2 decoys as you did. I'm sure the Jake and that hen. And then I don't know, I still haven't talked to you about it at all, but did you hunt out of that black chair in the back corner?
Yep.
So then did you do the whole number where you're like turning around the corner to shoot that bird?
Oh, yeah.
I did the same thing.
I had to shoot around the pole.
Yeah, same here.
Because he was moving quick. He caught my movement in the blind.
Oh, he did?
And he started moving fast, and I had to pick a spot in the tall grass. All I could see was his head and the top of his back.
Dude, that makes you and I both. Yeah. So this is the first time Rick's heard my story yet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't want to hear it until the podcast. So
that works out. But yeah, I was expecting him to come from where you're facing out the window further. So I was like, I'll just have to wait for him to get in closer before I drop back. But the decoys were set up more to my left. And I guess you set yours up on the further part of that 2-track. I set them up on the closer.
I set him up like
Johnny.
6 yards right square in front of the blind.
Oh, dude, I went back this way just a hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like right where your feathers were. I did it like 2-3 feet in front of that. But Yeah, I mean, I was thinking too, like, I always try to do the video thing too. It's just so hard alone, especially with the phone too. Like, I'm just running a phone, and like, if I forget the little attachment for my bow, it's like impossible. But having another guy there, so much easier.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you got too much going on. But yeah, I was just sitting on my phone, no gobbles in the morning at all. I'm like, here we go again. You know, just silence, that terrible feeling of, yeah, the birds are gone. Like, this is it. And I'm just sitting, like, had my bow down there, no arrow knocked up, nothing, just release my hinge and my button just in my pocket, just whatever. I'm like, I don't even care. Scrolling through Minnesota turkey page or something like that, and then Minnesota Archery Talk page on Facebook, just whatever. And I was throwing out a few yelps, kind of like you were too, just diaphragm call, that's it. Again, nothing. And then I just like look up from my phone. I'm like, oh crap. he's sitting there just like squaring up, just slapping the decoy with his wing. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, just came in silent, and from over my shoulder, I'm sure you know the field, if you're facing this way, is behind.
So that's where he came in from the left.
Yeah. Where did yours come in? Right in
I'll
front?
get to that.
Okay. So yeah, he came right over my shoulder, and I'm just like, well, it's late season, I don't care, like whatever. And dude, I'm so done with this season, probably like where you guys are. I was just like, I don't care. I just bent over right for my bow, super fast, everything. I'm like, I couldn't care less right now. Like I am already behind on this bird. Like, he's got the up on me, and just bow's up here, grabbing my arrow stuck in the quiver. And I'm like, get that out, knock that on. I'm like, all right, get my release, like dig through my pocket for release, happen to grab the hinge. I'm like, oh, this ought to be interesting. I mean, you guys know turkeys, they're just jumping around all the time. Like my first one last year, I was happy to have just that control over the trigger. But this one is the hinge. I'm like, well, we're sending it now. And I did this, like, drew back facing that way, and I did that little number where you turn around, and he had no idea. I turned, like, I didn't look at the bird once after that. I just turned, and I'm like, oh, he's still there? Cool. I'm like, sweet. And then I just sighted in that new HHA the night before. I was 12 hours before that, because I was texting you guys.
Tetramax.
Tetramax Rise.
Yeah, nice.
So just picked that up, just sighted in 12 hours before that, which who really cares? It's a turkey. You're shooting, 10 yards, but still got all the axes set on it and everything, and just turning. It's like the same thing as you. I could just see his neck up to his head, and walking through that 2 foot of grass. I'm like, oh, man. And he's still just like eyeing up that decoy. And I'm like, okay, I think his beard is there. Go right there, try it, let the hinge break over. And dude, he just jumped up, turned around. He's kind of wobbling, but then he's walking away. And I'm like, okay, well, he's definitely done. And then that was the arrow I sent you. That was like, the arrow ended up like 30 yards away, and no blood on it. So Damon's like, no, what happened?
I said send pictures or more pictures.
Yeah, because like it looked like I totally missed.
Well,
like,
once I saw that, I went on your Instagram to see like your story, because I saw you posted a story, and then I saw the feathers, and I was like, oh, he killed it. Nice.
Yeah, and so he was just like walking away, and like last year mine just ran away after I hit it, so we threw the blind up. This year I saw him walking away. I'm like, I don't know, I'm all about like making sure it's not going anywhere. I don't want to put in extra work for it, so I just jump out that window of the blind, throw another arrow on, start running after him, and he starts picking up his speed a little bit. And he went into that 3 foot tall grass. I'm like, dude. And then that's when it was even kind of one more kick into the nuts for the end of the year. Get out to that 2 track. There's this huge tom just sitting in the middle of the field. I'm like, oh, man, like I would have never known though. So he was 80 yards away yet. And I'm just like, whatever. I mean, this thing's dying either way. And I hear him in the weeds, and I just run in there, and I can just see like the weeds like laying over, just kind of like Jurassic Park, how they're like folding over. I just see like this little divot where he laid down, and I'm like, oh, let me make sure that he doesn't fly away, and sent one more. And that was the super bloody arrow, just right one more in the neck. And I don't know, I guess I could have done it another way, but I'm on the Cam Haynes page, just like, I'm gonna end it with a bow. Let's do it. And
man.
I staked him right to the ground and that was it.
Nice.
Then the mosquitoes hit me.
Yeah. Dude, the
Yeah.
mosquitoes out there are so bad. So
Terrible.
your first arrow, where'd your first arrow hit?
I don't know if we want to put pictures up or not, but it's like just to the right of the beard.
Okay.
It was just to the right.
So
So
he was
and I
facing
felt
you
like
when you shot?
Yeah, he was
Oh, okay.
facing toward me,
Perfect.
but he was kind of turning. But I felt it broke a little to the right, but I didn't think it was that far right. But like I have pictures of the entrance wound, and I was using that Black Hornet. You used that too, didn't you?
The Sarah razor?
You used the razor. I just
Yeah.
used a regular,
Oh, okay.
but still chewed him up pretty good. And then when I wish I took a picture of it. When I went to throw the fan up, there's a huge exit wound. I just missed that joint in the back
Oh, really?
by like the diameter of the broad, like an inch, half inch.
Okay.
Like it just huge
Yeah.
exit wound. I'm like, nice. Like
Perfect.
he wasn't going nowhere anyway. So missed the heart though, but went right in to the right of the beard. And then the second one, I just crossed him right here and
That's awesome.
stuck him to the ground, and he's done. So yeah, I was just,
Did you pull any ticks off you after that?
I'm actually surprised. I think I found one.
Really?
They
Yeah.
slowed down this last week.
I grabbed that sweatshirt at like 4 a.m, and that thing was soaking wet when I got out of the truck, just with all the spray that I put on it. It just like I was sneezing driving to the property. It smelled so bad. And then my pant legs from the knees down, I just had soaked with every bit of that Sawyer stuff, like
Yeah.
just ready to go into battle with mosquitoes and ticks. And yeah, I guess I survived pretty well. I made it out. So.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, the mosquitoes out there are awful every time I got out of the blind. I mean, even in the blind, they were bad, but when I'd get out, it was, well, Damon knows.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's over there trying to take photos, and just like, I've got 6 mosquitoes balls deep in my hand at a time. you
Well,
know?
when John showed me where to go, it was like the day before, I think, also. Yeah, it's crazy. I knew nothing about this place until literally 24 hours, and I still had a sight in my bow.
Yeah.
But he shows me, and we're driving through, windows down. I'm like, dear God, can we roll up the windows? Because
So
like his
bad.
mirror hit a branch, and just all these mosquitoes just swarm me. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
kill me.
That's the big plus about hunting them early season is you don't have to deal with all
yeah.
the bugs
Yeah.
and ticks.
Yeah, I miss that, honestly. Like when I was chasing them and had an opportunity, I felt on public land, like there was no ticks. I could just sit down
Run
right in the
around, yeah.
brush, and no ticks, no mosquitoes, no people. And then got warm out, and
Yeah.
all these fair weather boys started running out. I'm like, to you too, buddy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I crapped on turkey hunting in the last episode, the good Lord presented me with several opportunities this year, and we're just going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll give you all the juicy details. Spring is here, and turkey hunting is in full swing. Successfully killing a turkey with a bow is extremely challenging, so after you notch that tag, be sure to give your bow some love by installing a brand new set of Vapor Trail VTX bowstrings. Our proprietary VTX material with sci-fi technology, set it and forget it, is proven to hold up better in varying weather conditions, includes a lifetime service guarantee against manufacturer defects, and are available in thousands of color combinations to match your custom archery setup. With our 3-day ship guarantee, you can be back up and running in no time flat. Contact your local dealer or give us a call at 888-BOWSTRING. That's 888-BWS-TRNG. Quit your crying and have confidence in your equipment with Vapor Trail VTX bowstrings. All right, welcome back, everybody. So I'm about to tell the juicy little story about how I missed a turkey at less than 10 feet, or roughly 10 feet. Sitting out there at the promised land, hunting the same spot that Hollywood shot his bird, and the same spot that Johnny shot his bird in April. And it was probably a week before I actually killed my bird, but just sitting there in the blind, and same thing Hollywood's doing. I'm goofing around, not paying attention, right? Just sitting there. I've got the decoys at 6 yards, 6-7 yards, something like that. And all of a sudden I look up, and there's 2 jakes coming in on the decoys, and there's a nice tom right behind him. And I'm like, ooh, and I get all kind of excited and jacked up, and I moved a little bit too fast, grabbed my bow. The tom caught my movement, and then he started kind of dipping out. And then the jakes soon followed, and I probably should have taken a shot, but I was like, I don't know, I thought maybe I could get them to come back. If they weren't too spooked, I thought maybe they'd come back. And then I just sat and watched them for like the next 2 hours, goofing around out in the field and going over here and going over there and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm like getting ready to get out of the blind and go. I actually had to work that morning, so I was going to get ready, and I get a text from a buddy asking me how things are going, and I was like, actually, I just heard a gobble, and like not too far off, right? So wasn't sure where the bird exactly was, so I threw on all my camo quick because I was wearing all black in the blind. So I threw on all my camo, and I got sick for it in my Apex gear. And I got out and started to kind of work my way towards where I heard the gobble, and then all of a sudden here I could see that bird strutting in the field, in the wide open field that's kind of to the east there.
Yep.
So if you take that 2-track to the east, there he's right over there. So I swing back around the blind, and that 2-track kind of dips down low, so I was able to follow that. And I have one of those Montana silhouette decoys. So I pop that thing up, and I start walking over towards him. And when I get to the kind of the bottom of the hill that he's up on, I just start creeping my way up, and I'm going through this grass. It's like, I don't know, a foot tall or something like that. And I kick up the cloud of mosquitoes.
Dude.
And it's just, I'm just belly crawling up this hill with this decoy out in front of me with my bow. And I've got 1,000 mosquitoes just all over me. I'm eating them. They're going to my ears and to my eyes. And I'm just like, keep pushing.
Did you have the bug spray? I
had nothing.
Ooh.
I didn't bring anything that morning.
I heard that part.
Yeah.
Just thought the viewers should know.
Yeah, they should know. A huge mistake. And what's sad is I did that 3 days in a row. I forgot to bring stuff. But so I get kind of to the top of the hill, and I just like peek up. There's like a little screen in the middle of this decoy, and so I kind of peek through it, and I can see this Tom. He sees me, and he sees the decoy, and he's coming in quick. And so I just real quick like stick the stake into the ground, and I just kind of get down as low as I can so I can stay behind the decoy, and I just draw my bow back. And by the time I get up and get over the decoy, he's maybe 15 yards. Oh. Get sighted, or get my peep aligned as best that I can. And by the time I pulled the trigger and the arrow exited the bow, he had already cleared this, my point of impact, or where I was aiming, and the arrow went right over his back and shaved feathers off of his back.
So he's on the doorstep when you shoot.
Maybe 10 feet, something like that, because there's a pile of feathers that blow all over the place, right? And I was just like, and my arrow's like stuck in the dirt like this. And so he kind of runs off, and I'm like, knock another arrow, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm at 20 yards, I guess, and take another shot, and I shot to the right of him and took off into the woods. And so then I kind of tried to do this big circle, and I got on him, but he was just, I don't know, he snuck out of there, and then I couldn't find him again. So that was kind of the end of it. But just the craziest encounter I've ever had with a turkey. Like,
that'd be
unreal.
insane.
And then, and for what happened to me this morning, for all my sins in the blind, for not paying attention, I lose out on that opportunity, and then I get a second chance and I blow it. I was just so bummed out.
Yeah. That happened to Johnny too, didn't it? Yeah. Because, the last episode we were talking, he had a Tom rubbing up on the blind, and he was doing the same thing. We're all on our phones.
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Silent. Yeah.
It's just like, and then, so I'm just kind of like, I was super jacked up, but then at the same time, at the end of the day, I was like, why am I so like bummed out, like depressed feeling, and it's just like, because I think about you guys and all the time you guys spent out in the woods, and I went out like 3 times.
I know, yeah. I'd spent, God, I wonder how many hours. I could probably count back the days, but many.
And I did the 2 full days like in the rain and, with the shotgun during season C, and didn't have any luck. But then I think I went out, I think I did 2 days. It was that first morning I went out in season E. Is it E and F? Seasons E and F that you can hunt?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it just F?
It's just F,
is
I
2
think.
weeks. Okay, so so it's
17th.
Yeah.
I think, or 18th.
So that happened that first day. Then I went out the second day, nothing. Not a peep, not a sighting, nothing. And so then I was like, then I couldn't get out again because my wife had an art show that weekend.
Oh, that's right.
So then come around again to the following Thursday, right? This was last Thursday. It's 25th, so it was Thursday.
25th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Either way, same thing. Get out there. Forget the mosquito spray. Forget the Thermacell. I'm just sitting in there getting sucked dry by the mosquitoes.
Again?
Yeah, I just want to die, right? I'm like, oh, this is miserable. And I'm waiting for like that 7 o'clock time frame because that's like roughly when they were coming in. And then all of a sudden, 6 o'clock in the morning, I can see them out in that field. And well, so prior to that, I didn't get out there till like 5:15ish, something like that. It was about 5:30. I just did some light calling just to say like, hey, over here, just in case you're looking for a direction to go in, right? And then it was at like 5:45, I did a fly down sequence. And then it was like 6 o'clock. Then all of a sudden I see the Tom and 2 Jakes. And this time the Tom's coming in first. And he gets to the decoys. And again, same thing. I like kind of reach for my bow, and he must have caught me moving or something. I mean, I'm wearing all black in the blind, so I don't know what. I don't know if there's just too much sunlight coming in, or I guess just maybe too close. I don't know, because I've had them at, the other 2 birds I shot were well under 10 yards prior to that, and they never saw me.
It must have been because you didn't have the Sawyer on. The
Maybe.
bug spray.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably smelt you.
I'll have to remember that next time to make sure that I wear that. Shower up in some wildlife research before I leave in the morning.
Yeah, for turkeys.
But anyway, so yeah, he kind of got a little bit suspicious, and so I reached for my bow, but this time instead of swinging my bow around first, I just drew it at the back of the blind, like completely sideways. And then I came around, and then as I swung around, then he was working his way to the left. So then that's when I had to scoot out around the rod, so I wouldn't hit the rod. Yeah. And then it's just like, okay, everything's lined up. And he, again, he wasn't like super alarmed, but still, he came out of strut, and he was like working his way out of there. And I'm just like, okay, this looks like a good spot. I mean, that grass is tall, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of guessing, and just let it fly. And he didn't go very far. He flopped over twice and then hit the 2-track and died.
Jeez.
And then, well, of course, then I've got PTSD, right? So I'm getting another arrow knocked right away and getting ready to let him have it, And I didn't want to jump out of the blind because I didn't want to educate him, because I know there's a couple other people that want to hunt still. So I just sat and waited, and he didn't move. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure he's dead. And the arrow ended up busting through both his legs. And
perfect.
With Damon as my witness, it was a hard shot.
Yeah, we got photos of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have photos and videos. I think
evidence.
And yeah, I was really shocked to even realize like how far back the vitals are. They're back so much further than you would think. Yeah. I mean, I blew through, both those legs were shattered in like 10 pieces.
Yeah, I didn't hit the legs on mine last year, but I didn't even get to see the lungs or the heart for mine, but I felt like I made a good shot on that one last year, but Sam, he's like, this is how you breast a bird, because it was like my first one. And he's like, this is how you do it. Done. Throws the bird away. I'm like, dude, I didn't learn a thing out of that. So, because I was kind of interested. I usually like to go through, it's kind of weird, but like I want to go through the cadaver and just be like,
yeah, dude,
where did I hit? Like, just because, educate myself for next year, if it, like, oh, this one ran a little further this time or something, just to learn. But I don't even know where I hit the one last year. But this year, totally missed the heart. Not even a chance. But I think I just hit arteries or something, because his cavity was full of blood. But, I mean, heart was fine. Lungs looked fine. I don't know. But it was the big old bow that hit him.
Well, and I can't attest the heart shot to my shooting ability by any means. It was definitely a lucky shot.
You're better than me.
But just kind of amazing to see. I was like, wow, I can't believe, like, straight right through the middle. I mean, caught one of each lungs. But one of the things that's nice about shooting him in the head is, man, was that a mess when I was cleaning that bird. It took me a while to, get all the bruising out of there.
Oh, right. Yeah, I did that last night. I was trying to get all that bruising, like the bruised meat and whatnot, all blood that just was hanging in there.
Yeah.
It was
It's
pretty
everywhere. It
pretty
was
bad.
messy.
Yeah, I had that same thing. Just that little pole that was there. It's just funny. You and I had the same thing. It's just like trying to go around this thing. It's like, oh God, you're just trying to work your way around it.
Are you shooting your 80-pound bow too at the turkeys?
Fully maxed.
Just
maxed
blows
out.
right through them.
Yeah, not a chance. Not a chance.
Tough guy.
I mean, the only reason why that second arrow didn't go
Can't
through him is because there's a lot of ground underneath him. I was wondering though. I was like, why did he not like get up? He seemed like he had enough power to fly off, but I was like, this dude's not going anywhere. Well, when I went to grab the arrow, I had like 6, maybe 10 inches of that arrow was sticking into the ground past him. I'm like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet though. I was so happy when you said you got one out there though. I'm like, frick yeah, with the bow. Again, me being like the dude that, I don't know, I fully gave up on the gun stuff. Like, I'll mess with guns for fun, but I'm not hunting with guns. So just knowing you shot that with a bow just made it that much better.
Yeah. And so funny too, because the last episode, how I was just dogging on, I'm not, screw the bow, I'm doing it with a gun, all this stuff. And then the landowner said, yeah, you can hunt it, but you got to do it with a bow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of any particular like restriction or anything like that. He's just like wanted to challenge. He's like, why would you work for an archery company? Do it with a bow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fine.
Yeah. Well, and let it be known.
Real quick before I forget, to go back to what we were talking about, the filming. Every day I hunted, I had a camera with me, except that morning.
Yes.
And I didn't bring it with me because I left it here at the shop. And I was running late, and I'm like, I don't have time to pack it, so I didn't bring it.
Well,
so I didn't get it on film.
Back to the excitement factor, like you said. I set my alarm for school that morning.
Yeah.
I woke up, and normally for school I wake up, see my alarm's going off, shut it off, go back to bed, slowly wake up, make my way. Well, I woke up, shot one, and I'm like a kid on Christmas. I just hop out of bed. I'm showered and in my truck in like 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like with school, that's just not how it works.
Yeah. Just grab the camera.
But yeah, I was like thrilled because we didn't have anything to take photos of or video of.
Right.
Yeah, but when you said you shot one, I was very excited.
Plus with some new product, out there, that it was nice to get that too. That's why I was just like, frick yes. So one of us 4 did it. Like,
Yeah.
And then
only took all season.
yeah, I know, the whole season. And then I was gonna say that too when I was talking about how I'll try and video my stuff too. I don't know if I ever shared that with you, that deer that was like full draw on this last year, just a massive 8-pointer. I have huge suspicion, or like I'm very suspicious of, or I can't think of the word, but whatever. When I bring a camera out or like no, I'm gonna film, doesn't go my way every single time. You guys like have to film because that's what you guys are doing, but like when I bring a camera out, it's not happening.
That's how it is with fishing too. You'll never catch a big fish with a camera in the boat.
No, but then as soon as you forget everything behind, everything comes into play.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I start getting weird with him. I'm like, when we're about to go hunting and like we're gonna film it, I'm like, we're not shooting anything. Like, we shouldn't even bring the camera because we're not even gonna see anything.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
then when
man.
it does happen, it's like, one time, like one of the mornings we almost shot one. It was like, I was like, we're not shooting anything, but I guess I'll bring the camera with. And then the bird comes full strut out, and like, the bird's on the ground, but we're still not gonna shoot it.
Damon just likes reverse psychology. We'll go out and the whole time he'll just bash on everything we're doing, and then when it does start to go, he'll kind of get excited. And
Yeah, like this bird's coming in full strut. I'm like, it ain't coming in. It starts getting a little bit closer. I'm like, okay, I should probably press record now because it's coming in. And then it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on here?
But-
But then there is the times where it is coming in and then it dies. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Other than you taking photos of Rick with it, let this also be another chance that we can say it on record. Rick shot that with the Matthews. So, but we'll get to other stuff later. But
This is why we have Hollywood on the show, because there's certain things that I just subconsciously don't want to talk about, and then he's gonna bring it
I'm gonna
up
poke the bear.
because he knows. But it's fine. It's
Yeah.
that what's disappointing, or what's kind of a bummer, is that I had just received my new bow, which I'll talk about in our segment a little bit later. But I honestly, for a half a second, thought man, I should run to the shop real quick and get my other bow so that I can take some
Dude,
some photos with the other bow. And then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be that guy.
I almost jokingly stole your other bow, and threw my black gold sight on it because I had my HHA. I almost jokingly stole that, threw it on there, and sighted it in just so I could be like, dude, go hunt with it tomorrow.
I know. I was
like,
so bummed out.
He's gonna do it the Matthews.
It's fine. Matthews makes a good bow.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's a great bow.
Rick's never shot one.
The reason I'm shooting it is because of our arrow rest that we're testing right now. And this is actually a shop bow. And then I sold my other bows so that I could pay for this one that I've been waiting for since December.
Yeah.
So it's the only bow I had, but either way, and I don't mean to make excuses. It's a good bow. I actually didn't like how it shot at first, but I really got the hang of shooting it pretty good towards the end.
She's a
and
beaut.
I shot all through 3D with it this year, so it did me all right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it would have shot a lot better if I had any skill or practiced at all, ever.
That always helps.
Yeah. But, great season. I was super excited that morning when you got your bird, and I don't know, the video that you sent, for some reason when you send me videos,
it's because Johnny's phone.
Yeah,
They're
like this big, so I'm like trying to see it.
It's all pixelated.
Yeah, and then
sent on an Android or
but
I don't have the Android. Johnny's got it.
But then but I knew you shot a bird, and I was just like, oh man, and I don't know what. I think you sent the message just before 7. Is that right?
Yeah, it was probably 6:50-ish, 6:57.
And I had been up pretty late the night before, and so my wife let me sleep in that day, and I slept till I think 8 or 8:30, something like that. Yeah. So I was like kind of bummed out because I was like, oh man, I really wish I could be there. And you guys are sending me pictures of drinking beers, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and I sent, so I think it was radio silence for like a good 15 minutes. No one was saying nothing. And I'm like, wow, like this is the most unexciting kill ever. And then I think Tommy Carroll might have been the first one to reply because I sent him a picture of me with the Whitetail Properties hat. He just got me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, dude, the hat strikes again.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And he's like, sweet, man. But yeah, I was excited, for both of us getting it done, just all the hours that I put in, and just the fact that you did it with a bow again. But with that new bow, we have plans for this fall. We all do. I went to North Dakota last year. I didn't draw this year, but these boys drew this year.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they've told anything to you, but I'm excited to hear what they're about to say about North Dakota.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I have not heard, but I'm ecstatic for you guys both having a tag.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Swing this over.
Yeah, let's swing that.
I hunted there many, many years. Probably I think 7 or 8 years straight, and I've killed 3 bucks
Heck yeah.
out of there and had many other opportunities. But yeah, tell us a little bit about like what's your plan or what do you think? You guys put together a really sweet film from last year, and we'll show a little bit of that film as you tell the story. But yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
Well, this whole Western hunting thing started 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, we're just sitting in my basement like teenagers do, just watching hunting YouTube videos. That's what you do. And we're watching all these mule deer hunt stuff, and we're like, we should do that. Like, why don't we do that? And I got my license that year, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we started doing research, and it was already too late to apply for other states, but we're like, Nebraska's over the counter. So we started doing some research with Nebraska mule deer. And so what we did is we just packed my truck and just headed to Nebraska. Didn't have the proper gear, didn't have our Onyx scouting was maybe one night before we left. Like, hey, maybe we should go here. This looks all right, even though it's terrible. And we just head out there, and teenagers, we're just doing what we do, just going. And we got there, and we're camping. And our original plan was to camp because we wanted to save money. So we camped the first 3 days, and then we ended up getting a flat tire during a thunderstorm. So we were hurrying to set up camp because of the thunderstorm.
Oh man.
And we got everything set up. Me and him are laying in the bed of my truck, and we were just going to wait till the morning to switch the tire out, but my bed started leaking water all over our sleeping bag. And what was I, 16? Yeah.
Yeah, I was 15.
Yeah, he was 15, and I was 16, and we're far away from home. And I can't get a hotel room because I'm underage. So I'm limping, with a flat tire into town. I couldn't even barely see through my windshield because gear was packed up to our roof because we were sleeping in the bed.
When that storm came, we launched it all in and booked it out of there. We were gone.
Oh, it was bad. We just threw everything in there. I'm driving. You're still sleeping. You're like in the bed still.
Yeah, I didn't even try to get up to the front.
You're still wearing like pajamas in your sleeping bag, and I'm driving, gear up to the top, barely can see because it's storming out. And I'm calling my mom like, hey, like, can you get us a motel room? If not, we'll just park in the gas station parking lot and wait till the morning. Love her to death. She got us a hotel room. We parked. Awesome. We just sat. We got everything in the hotel room. Got it all dried out. But yeah, besides that, so that was our first year. We had maybe one stock, maybe one or two.
One or two. It wasn't crazy. We didn't know what we were doing. It was a learning trip for the most part. So
I think the biggest buck we saw was like a fork.
No, we saw some nice bucks.
On the way in we did, yeah. On private.
Yeah.
So yeah, that first trip was kind of like, dang, that was fun, even though we didn't shoot one. Maybe let's do it again. And then the following year came by, we kind of just slacked again on.
We went to the same spot and did kind of the same stuff. We had a little bit more understanding of what we're doing, and I think we did a little bit better. We had a couple opportunities, and it just didn't work out. It's tough. Public land is so difficult. We had a buck that came down a ridge, and he went and bedded, and we knew right where he was bedded, and we just wanted to give him time to get real comfortable because he knew he was going to sit there for most of the day. And we're just sitting back kind of watching, and a truck blows right by, parks right there, and just runs up, buck busted out. It was like, really?
It's like we're sitting there, and we yet again, one of those moments where we have so much confidence. It's like we shouldn't even have that much confidence. We're sitting there, we're eating donuts, drinking our drinks, and we're just waiting for this buck to go, and all of a sudden we see a truck pull up with a Kuyu sticker on the back, and 4 guys with their Matthews bows hop out, and they just run right into this ditch, and this buck spooks. And we're like, really? And then, of course, they're walking back up, and we pull up next to them. We're like, hey, any luck? And they're like, no. Like, I think they had slight, those
they're
guys.
They're like, we busted that for them. But
the big deer sticker on the back of our truck didn't give it away. But
yeah, right.
One of those really salty moments where with public land you just go on to the next. Mm-hmm. And that was probably the biggest learning lesson for us was we would get caught up on a buck and we'd be like, we just need to kill this buck. But it's public land and you never know what happens. So we moved on. But that year we applied for North Dakota in a group, didn't get it. So we had 1 point in the system. And so that's why we went back to Nebraska is because we didn't draw. But that second year in Nebraska, even early season, we had a lot more stocks, even though they weren't the caliber of bucks we were really after. We were still getting on stock, 2 to 3 stocks a day, which was really nice, especially versus the first year where we weren't barely seeing anything.
Yeah, so we went, though, we hunted for 14 days in total, and we kind of learned what we were doing now, and we said scratch that whole area, move somewhere random. All we had was some e-scouting, and that was a grind. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Ooh. So yeah, our first early season trip, we had a few guys out there. It was more of hey, it's deer season finally. This is fun.
And you guys are in Nebraska right
Nebraska,
now,
right?
Nebraska.
Yep. And are you hunting mule deer specifically or both?
Mule deer specifically,
okay. Yeah.
I would say. I mean, if a stud whitetail pops out or even a decent whitetail pops out, I'm slinging.
Right.
That redneck instinct kicks out. I'm slinging. Yeah. But so first trip, early season trip was hey, this is fun. Let's have a campfire, cook a couple hot dogs, and hunt some muleys. Mm-hmm. Well, and then we didn't we didn't kill. So we're sitting, and we just on our way back, we're kind of yeah, there's the possibility we could go back, but who knows with school and other stuff. And I think we were just hanging out at my house, and it was 2 days before Thanksgiving break, and I was like, hey, Griff, want to go to Nebraska again? And he's like, yeah. Not a yeah, more a yeah. A sure. So I'm all right. And then now I'm finally 18. So I called, got us a $25 a night.
It was 50, but
25 per person.
Yeah.
So $25 a night per person.
Ooh.
Motel in
That'd be
a town that we're not going to speak of because we might go back there maybe. I don't know. But we got this motel, and we left the school parking lot with all of our stuff loaded down, drove overnight. I'm driving my truck, and I'm just like falling asleep while driving. It's not good. Just energy drink. And we finally roll in at 1 a.m. We probably didn't go to bed till 2 a.m. Or we had maybe a few Onyx point, minimal public, had a few Onyx points. And then we just went from there.
It was bad. So we didn't get much sleep that first night. We barely made it there. We were falling asleep on the way, and right away in the morning we just go and we look at some of the spots we marked, and it was okay, we're not seeing much here. But then we decided, we're just going to drive. We're going to look. We're just going to look at everything we possibly can within 100 miles.
Yeah.
So how many days did we drive nonstop before we even made a stock?
Kind of what we would do is, since it was majority of private, we'd wake up, like you said, and we would just drive. And what we had was the good thing we had was it was during the rut. So bucks were out like crazy. You drive and you just see bucks everywhere. So what we would do is we would drive, find a buck, mark it on Spartan Forage, and then we would just move on. And then we'd find the next, we'd find the next, we'd find the next. Then we would just knock. But we drove for 5 days straight.
Yeah, 5 solid days.
So what we would do is we'd wake up, hop in the truck, drive all day, go to the next, drive all day. We were filling a gas tank a day at least.
Yeah.
We probably went through $800, $900 worth of gas in a week. So we just wake up, drive, wake up, drive, wake up, drive, wake up, drive. Got told no probably 6-7 times. And it was a struggle because we'd see 160, 180 class muley bucks 50 yards off the road, and we just can't touch them because it's all on private. Well, last day we woke up, and we kind of got into that weird psychology where I'm we're not, this is our day, whatever. We roll past this property and we saw this. You go into it, it's your buck.
Yeah, we rolled by, and it's some farm, a ranch. Somebody owns a ton of land, and it's all dispersed. But we roll by, and we already spotted one decent buck on a property, and we marked it. We'd probably go knock midday. But we drove by, saw the buck that I ended up killing. We're okay, mark it, keep going, let's find another one. And
yeah, we didn't even care. We were it's just a buck, let's go.
Right.
Mark it, let's leave.
Yeah.
2 Casey's, we went.
We just wanted to get as many bucks marked as we could, so we can just go glass property, figure out, and then just go put a stock on them. But we went, and we probably saw 1 or 2 other good bucks. One was a 160, 170 buck, really nice. And we just watched him for 45 minutes.
Remember when I went when I tried to get permission of that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that, but
just tell it.
So we're watching this 165 at least.
Yeah, he's big.
He was a big buck, and he's just in this perfect spot where he's just kind of going over the ridge. We could sneak up, get on him, and I'm where's the property owner? It's not here. It's in a retirement home.
In town.
Oh.
So I pull up. I'm dude, it's the last day. We have to try something. So I pull up to this retirement home, and I walk in, and the front desk lady goes, full Sitka, by the way, sick for it. Hashtag sick for it, yeah. This front desk lady goes, you need help? I'm no. I already had the last name dialed in, what room he was in. I go straight to his room. I knock on. Spartan Forge is weird. You can do a lot of stuff on that app. It's probably not ideal, but I go straight to this guy's room. Old farmer, bib overalls, opens the door. Hey, how's it going? I'm good. I walk in, we're talking. And right away he denied the permission, but he was just such a cool guy. I mean, he's an old farmer. He understands. And what started with asking for deer permission went to floods and weather and farming, and I 25 minutes later I'm sitting down at this table drinking coffee with this farmer, and I'm how do I not have permission yet? But I was what turned into this isn't morally right turned into dang, I just met a cool guy that I'm never going to talk to again. So
that's really cool though.
So I left, and then we went to Casey's, and then we went back to that other property.
And by the way, that spot, Damon was all alone in there. I wasn't about it, so I waited in the truck, and he got back. I kind of got mad at him, but towards the end of trips, we get tension kind of rises.
Well, the fun
Yeah.
game I like to play with him is like when I go and knock on a door and he doesn't want to come with, I'll like act like I got it. And he'll be like, you get it? I'll be like, no. I'll be like smirking and smiling as I'm going back to the truck. He's like, and I'm like, no, didn't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the tensions part. Nebraska was like, I wanted to rip his head off. Like it was.
We both wanted it so bad that it was like.
Yeah.
It was just like, let's just do it. And so go back to what you were saying.
So he went in town and asked permission at the retirement home. And we went back and we looked at our waypoints where we marked some bucks. And we drive by and I look in the cornfield and like there's some dots out there, like some dark brown dots. And we're like, I'm not going to look yet. Let's just not get our hopes up. So we went and asked because we knew he was in there. There was no other place for him to go. And we got permission. Thank God.
I knew we were getting permission. You know, like when you get that feeling when they open the door, you're like, I got permission.
And the cats running all around.
25 cats come down. This little old lady walks out. Hey, guys. Like, because most of the time they open the door, they go, what do you want? But this girl was like, I knew, like I had this weird feeling. And as soon as like they gave us permission, we looked at each other and we're like, don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak out.
Yeah, like when you pull away from the property you just got and you're like, look cool while you're driving away, don't freak out quite yet. But yeah, so we got permission and we rode down and we're like, okay, I'm really hoping this is the buck bedded up here. And
Got the spotting scope out.
so we pulled the spotting scope out and we're sitting on the road. We can glass him from the road. And it was probably like 1,000 yards away or something, 1,500.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty dang far,
Yeah.
but we didn't range it from where we glassed. But moral of the story is buck was there. It was like
With those.
yeah, bedded right on the cornfield, and I kind of looked at Damon and like fist bump.
Yeah.
It was like, this
Well,
is perfect. He's bedded there. There's a hill going up to him. Like, this is looking pretty good, but I'm not going to get my hopes super high. So we sat there for a minute. Wind was perfect, checked all that, and we just came up with a game plan. And we swung around, and we got in our socks, and we just started going. And I went minimal, and
So did I.
yeah, all I had was my bow and my rangefinder, and then we just crept slowly, and the hill wasn't what we thought it was. So we got up to where, like, it wouldn't take much to get over and take shot, but I kept looking at my map. I was like, dude, from where I think that buck is, it's too far if I was to pop up, and if I'm going to pop up, he's going to see me and spook. So, like, right as we're sitting on that spot looking, the sun comes out. It gets warm. So they're bedded in the wide open. Those bucks, or the buck and the does, stand up, and they kind of start working towards us. And they cut over down the ravine. And I like did this. I was like, not there anymore. There's only one place for him to go. So I kept doing that, which I shouldn't have been doing. But when they're standing, you got to figure something out.
So when you say you're doing that, you're kind of
Poking
your
my head
up
over the
above
hill,
just
yeah.
to see, get a
Barely,
glimpse.
like I took my hat off and I just tried to stay as concealed as I could.
And while all this is happening, by the way, so like the whole trip we were filming it, but like not like filming it. And then as soon as I saw that there was a possibility of something dying, I started taking it more seriously. Well, I'm behind him this entire way, but then as soon as he gets close to the bucks, I'm like, we're far into the trip, and I'm staying back. Like I want the kill, I want the footage, but like we need the kill. And I respected that in his space. So while he's doing all this popping up and seeing all these deer, I have no clue what's going on. I just see his head, the top of his bow, and like I'm shaking so bad I can barely stay in focus on my camera.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden he disappears for like 5 minutes, and then
Yeah, so where I left off is when the deer actually moved over so I could get around to where I needed to be. And I saw where they moved, and I was like, okay, we have to go now or we aren't killing this deer. So I waved Damon along, and he's like, no, I'm not risking this. This is the last day.
Yeah.
So I moved up, and I got behind this, and I poked my head up. I was like, okay, here he is. This is my opportunity. So I knocked my arrow, ranged, and it was 60 yards. I drew back and popped up, and I whiffed. I was like, oh my.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no. So I immediately just dropped, like just hit the deck. I was like, shoot.
And that's the nice thing about mule deer is they're kind of not dumb, but a little like with whitetails they hear that and they're.
Yeah.
With mule deer they're kind of like what?
Yeah.
It worked out good because he was paying attention to the does. He had no idea I was there.
Yeah.
But
if
I
he
knocked.
did.
What's that?
Even if he did, as long as those does are there,
Right. Yeah.
he's
He was
probably
staying put.
not going anywhere.
But I knocked that other arrow, and I was like, okay, he's still right there. I'm gonna do it right this time. And I popped up and drilled him, and he ran 20 yards and tipped over. Watched him do it all, and I just screamed. It was electric. Me and Damon went wild.
A lot of footage got cut out, but I'm sitting back there and I just have the tip of his bow in focus. I have no clue where the deer is. I know nothing. I'm just sitting there and I just see. I didn't even see the first shot. That's why I thought right away
He saw me shoot the first time and he started walking down, but the deer was in a good position where he didn't see Damon coming.
Well,
out.
I was recording. I just saw, and then I just saw you duck down. You must have gone on that backside, and I'm like, he shot, and like in the footage you can hear he shot, and I was just like, he shot. Like, why am I not hearing anything? He shot, he shot, he shot, and then I got closer and like, while all this is happening, we're running through like thorns and like. We have our adrenaline's so high, we have no clue what our feet are in for right now.
It was a pasture. There's all those sand burrs and all kinds of junk that got in our feet. But
so I'm just like slowly walking.
Oh, that's right. You guys were in socks still.
Yeah, socks, minimal stuff. I'm in socks and I'm just walking towards him, and all of a sudden I just see the bow up in the air and and I'm like, and like I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, and like back to like the emotional part, like that's just one of those things where like everything paid off, and it just like that feeling of that array you get when that happens, it's like it just shocks you. Like I could have cried.
it was so relieving. It didn't even feel real. Like I remember, like
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't even know. Nothing made sense at that time. And
Yeah.
we were just going.
It was like go mode. It was like putting cruise control, just go. And when I didn't even see the buck. I just heard you scream. You didn't even I didn't even see a buck laying there dead until we like walked up to like film it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it ran 10 yards, 15
No,
yards.
it ran 20.
Or 20.
20, and then he tipped over right in front of my eyes. It was crazy, but
Blood pumping everywhere.
Yeah, just hearing your guys' story right now is like giving me chills.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
insane.
Like I'm getting goosebumps because I've been there before, and especially to have like your buddy there. And it doesn't matter what tension you had or what fights you had before. Like
everything
that never
goes away.
happened.
Everything goes away.
And it's such a cool thing. And the video, like when you first showed me that video, the way you captured your guys' excitement is great. It's amazing because so many people have been there. You know, and so it really brings back a lot of those emotions, and then you're just like, oh man, you know, it gets you pumped up, gets you fired up, you know. So good job. Good job on getting good footage of that. And
it was
good shot.
It was
insane. 60 yards is a long ways.
Well, and it's not even like it's just that, like that deer meant a lot, like the animal clearly harvesting it, using its meat in the experience, but like that deer had like 3 trips, Nebraska trips, thousands of dollars worth of gas and food and anger and plenty of trips to Shields and Cabela's and nights talking, you know, like it's everything that involved that deer that was just insane. It didn't even, the size doesn't matter when that happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The miss, after that, I just want to make this clear. I don't want to make myself look good here. So after that, we actually ranged where he was, and there was a fence post right where he was, and I ended up ranging over his back at like 73, and so I cranked my dial down to where he was. But
gotcha. Okay.
And you shot right through the frontal, and it
I
blew
took
out
a
the
frontal
back
shot.
and
Wasn't messing around.
Blew
It
out.
was right in that perfect opening,
Thoracic
Yeah.
cavity.
and he did not stand a chance.
Because when you gutted it, the arrow was like right in the back
It hit everything possible.
with the schwackers,
Yeah.
So
That's a cool story.
Yeah, so that's Nebraska. That's our experience. Now North Dakota.
So North Dakota, you guys both drew a tag. So that'll be awesome. You guys both will have opportunities, one behind the camera, one.
Yeah.
How do you typically like to organize that kind of stuff? Like, because I think about when I've hunted out west with buddies and we're like, okay, first person to spot, right, gets choice. You know, if you want to shoot it, you get to go after it. If you don't, you can pass it off to the other guy. Do you guys have any organization with that, or how do you figure that out?
A little bit.
We try to be pretty good about it, make everything fair to each other. And it's sometimes like every other stock, or it's like, oh, you spotted the deer, you're taking that. Yeah. We kind of go with the flow on that. We work well together that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Nebraska, it was like you had the bow, and like I know that I'll be able to get it on camera, and I just had more confidence with my camera than the bow, so I was like, let's just go.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, like it's normally every other stock. Like if I have a stock, blow it, then it's your stock.
Yeah.
Or if it's like you spot a deer that you want to kill, I record.
Right. We don't really get into it too much. It's like we see the deer and like one of us will be like, all right, go kill that thing. Yeah. So it's already decided. Yeah. We don't get into it too much.
Whoever takes like the initiative to go do it. That's the one thing that we've never thought about.
Right. The main goal is to just get content and get somebody to post. Yep. So
just get some.
Whoever kills it doesn't really matter because we know we'll have other opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, with Nebraska, that was like that. And with North Dakota, I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to that where, well, the thing with Nebraska is we never really went on that many stocks. But with North Dakota, I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot more stocks, a lot more craziness.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a plan yet? You know where you're going to go, or you got any leads? Or, I mean, don't say where. But.
Yeah. I've done maybe an hour of e-scouting so far.
Yeah. We don't know exactly what we're going to do. We've got some things in our back pocket. We're kind of throwing it around, whatever. I've talked to my dad a little bit. He's a North Dakota boy, so he's kind of been around all that. Yeah. And my grandpa lives in North Dakota, so I'm going to talk with them and we'll figure out some stuff. But everything's up in the air. We just know we're going in kill mode.
Yeah, probably we're just going to run off other people's intel. And I have quite a few spots marked, but besides that, I mean, our plan is we're going to go early season as of now, just because with him in school, more of it's like a scouting trip / what are we even doing here? Kind of get a lay of the ground.
Definitely do that.
If we're not successful there, definitely going to go in October, middle October when he has a break.
Or November. We've got 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3-week-long parts that we can go on.
Yeah, like Thanksgiving and time.
If we need it. Maybe we'll kill the first weekend or the week, but who knows?
I would be very happy if we both filled our tag by October.
Yeah.
I would be very happy with that. And like caliber buck-wise, like whatever makes me happy, I'm going to shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'll be awesome. Yeah, you kind of want to match wits, you know, with what you're hunting. And it was smart that you guys did a lot of stocks, even though they weren't like target bucks that you had, because we kind of started to find out that we had about a 10% success rate. So for every 10 stocks, we would have one where we would get
an arrow,
maybe an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then everything else has to fall into play. Wind's got to be right. You know what I mean? They got to still be where they were when you last saw them. And what's crazy too is like, understanding the terrain, because there's so much between you and that buck that you can't see. And so when you start getting into the thick of it and you're just like, there's some bucks that I've killed out there where like I get halfway there and I almost give up. I'm like, this is insane. I don't know if I can even get through this terrain right now. This is wicked. Like I could die in here. So it's good to be in there and exploring around, and hopefully in the process you find some sheds. And so going out early season, you know, midday, you know, when it's hot, I mean, it's kind of miserable running around and that stuff, but they usually stick to the thick cover and the shade, you know. But yeah, you guys are gonna have a blast. There's some really good hunting out there. I mean, it's terrible. There's no bucks. Don't even try.
Don't apply.
No,
it's
don't.
bad.
I was so hoping we would all draw.
That would have been epic.
Yeah.
Like I was planning on going out with a buddy of mine. But then I was like, man, if we all drew, like we could make an epic film.
Like a deer camp.
Right.
Yeah. But that didn't happen. So it's on you guys.
Yeah,
all the pressure's on you guys.
Yeah, all pressure's on us.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it should be interesting. I mean, Nebraska definitely taught us a lot. I feel like I'm grateful for Nebraska because it gave us slightly more knowledge than we didn't have, you know. And I appreciate that knowledge going into North Dakota. And it's just gonna be fun to get to run around and chase them again.
Right.
I love it. Western hunting is a lot of fun.
It's
a lot,
especially for us ADHD.
Right. I was just gonna say that. I like to move.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing is like we hunt whitetails around here, and we get in the stand, we're sitting there. Normally, by the time the first Little Debbie gets taken out, the second Mountain Dew, and you know, like at least an hour of TikTok, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And if that's with zero deer activity, when there's deer activity, I'm not like that. But ADHD, definitely getting to run and just go is like insanely fun.
Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to the footage that you guys are going to
Yeah.
get and hearing the stories and everything. And of course, we should probably sit down. I might be able to give you some pointers. I don't know, but we can get into that later.
Yeah.
Hollywood over here, you're still due, but you had some opportunities in North Dakota last year. Now you didn't draw your tag this year, but you drew a couple states, or one.
Just one. Yeah, that was awesome, guys. By the way, hearing that success story, that's man. I'm pretty jealous.
Yeah, my hair was
16
like standing
or
on
17 when you shot that thing.
You were
17.
He was 16. Yeah, he's 16. Yeah.
I can't even imagine,
Yeah,
dude. I was still like chasing whitetails. I'm like, oh my god.
I didn't shoot a deer with my bow till I was 25.
Yeah, he was 16 and I was 18. Barely 18.
So that's super.
That's
super
nuts.
Cool.
Barely 18.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
awesome.
film is on Dialed Archery's YouTube.
Yeah, and I have no idea what success is like. So
Neither do I.
Well, you almost. you should.
I mean, yeah, I won't say too much, but yeah, I had opportunities. You guys will too. You should be able to do a few less door knocks, I'd think, this year. But yeah, I definitely shot one. I just hope it's not the one that I saw come down the hill, because that thing was just a giant. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've already talked about that story or not.
You told me, but yeah.
Yeah. To keep it somewhat short, I mean, I shot one, and I was expecting to shoot a 100-yard shot. I was ready to do that, 80-pound bow, and, I got the speed and the potential energy for making it through. But I ran after one and right down this, creek bottom and turned the corner, and I, look, I'm like, oh, he's right there. Step back around, whip the sight up, take the rangefinder. He's 30 yards. Ooh. And I sent one, and I think it was because I did the same thing you guys did. I went and checked where he's standing. It was 37. I think I had 34 on my rangefinder, so I went a little low. Had blood eventually. That's part of the long story, but found his bed, and then I think it was the second day. So it was 24 hours before I even knew I shot him. I thought I completely missed because a bunch of bucks ran out of there. And so I was like, oh, I missed it. All these bucks aren't bleeding. But yeah, then I found where his bed was, and there's some dudes I went during rifle season. Don't do that. Anyone, don't do that. Rick warned me, and I still did it, but
I always do, just because you can still get in. You can still find bucks.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely could have killed and for sure
out.
got mine, but
I just don't like that I have to wear blaze for
yeah,
however many days until the rifle season's out. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they were harassing me, but they were constantly on me all the time. Is the same two dudes, and out of nowhere, he was bedded here. There's a little ridge up here they'd run. The guys in the UTV that just run this all day. That bed was right here, full of blood, and then I couldn't find him. And then it was 6 p.m. last night of rifles. So it was a Sunday night. Maybe it wasn't 6, whatever sundown was. And these dudes come out of this draw right on the other side. I never heard a shot all day. Mind you, I was in that area
so
all
they just
the time.
Scooped him up.
I think he just somehow got across with no blood, and then I think they grabbed him. So
it was a tanker too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 big bucks that came out of there, and one was a giant, I was like, no way I get an opportunity like this.
Yeah.
And the other one was like, yeah, this is a nice opportunity. And then the two that ran out of there, I'd take any day. That's what I'd expect a caliber to take, something like this. And I'm just like, I'd take that, no doubt. And dude, that is one of the two, because one of the two big ones, didn't make it out of there. Just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what happened with that deer. I hunted all the way to the end.
Yeah, that just made me mad when you told me that story. I'm like, that's
That had to have been what happened. I mean, I walked miles in 2 feet of snow for 2 days straight looking for this deer, because I'm like, I don't want it to just die and then go to waste. And
right.
I who cares if? And the biggest thing was like the guys that might have taken it. I wanted to just be like, hey, is that my deer potentially? Because you'd know if it had 2 holes in it.
Right.
And even then, if it was mine, I'd ask, can I take the rack at least? It's my first time play that game. Or at least you guys can have the whole deer. I just want the antlers, or or at least let me get a picture with it. I mean, something. But I didn't even get that opportunity. I was gassed when I got to the top of that hill.
If I put myself in their shoes and I see a dead deer sitting there, right? Like, okay, I may take it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see the guy that probably killed it,
and his car's in the parking lot,
I'm gonna give it up, or at least ask, inquire, like, hey, do you think? Because I mean, you can tell if it's an arrow, or a bullet hole.
Yeah.
You know what weapon. You clearly can see what weapon you're using.
Yeah.
So that's the disappointing part, is that I wouldn't want to just leave a deer die and rot away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or get eaten by the coyotes, but at the same time, like, they knew you were there.
Right.
So it's
every day.
So disappointing.
Same 4Runner, same dude with the bow, and it's the same blue UTV.
Yeah.
I knew.
Most likely residents too, because it's really hard to draw a gun tag out there as a non-resident.
And even a resident. Even residents can take up to 7 years. I mean, and to just make things worse is like 3/4 to a mile back that I had to walk through all this snow, and I was just hosed from walking so much that day. And I'm like, just a ride back. I'm like, just give me something. And they came up with all that draw and they just gunned it. I'm like, damn. Like, dude,
you're exhausted and pissed off.
Yeah.
Jerks.
So I don't know. This I put in probably a good solid 8 hours now on e-scouting for South Dakota, because I know there's less public land. I might have an opportunity with a family that owns like almost a county's worth of acreage. So that'd be great.
That'd be good, because you can go out earlier too.
Yeah, and then like the people I know, that it's just like a ranch, and they're like, they don't really hunt, and if they do, it's just like during rifle season, and they're like, you're guaranteed to be done in the first weekend. So that'd be great. Cool. But I'm just trying to find like public land that's going to be worth our time, since I kind of know what I'm trying to look for, I guess. I haven't been out there that much. I've never been to South Dakota, but I think that's why I'm not like as excited, because like if we did, like all of us drew, oh man, dude, I'd be like, I'm going right there. I don't know where to go. But
I tell you what, though, cases of beer and bottles of wine go a long ways.
Yeah.
In getting permission.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
If you know where they live, just start sending it. Or
I mean, I've got points already, like all over South Dakota. Just like I'm gonna check there, and there. But we'll see. I know there's a lot of things I'll change, and like a big thing that screwed me over so many times last year is all that snow that North Dakota got hit with. And even when I was there, it's just the bucks were dumb. They're full of does, which was great. But now you have 20 sets of eyes, and noses and ears listening and seeing your movements. And then I never thought I'd ever have this moment in my life, but I had multiple stalks ruined by bighorn sheep. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, what are the odds? Like, there's this monster right here, and I want to scoot down this way, but the ewes are sitting here feeding. The rams up here. I'm like, what are the odds?
Boo.
It's awesome, but yeah.
So you got some good, solid leads on South Dakota so far. That's good.
And then I've got points for. I just got the notification. I got the point for Colorado, so I'll probably wait a couple of years for that for deer, and then should have an elk one coming. And then I've got the point for bighorn for Colorado. That was confirmed too. So we'll be waiting for years for that one, but
it'll probably take you a little while.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I wasn't so lucky this year. I didn't draw North Dakota. I thought I had a good chance because I had 2 points. Didn't draw. So I got like an 80% chance next year. And then thought I would draw a bear tag this year. Didn't draw a bear tag, even though I'm still. So then I was thinking I'd go OTC Colorado. And then now I'm like kind of backpedaling on that and thinking I might save my change for if I, can draw a better tag. And then just have that money kind of set aside and then just go spend a week up in the Boundary Waters screwing around.
I was going to say locally draw a better tag.
Yeah. Well, and I applied for Minnesota elk, but that's not going to happen.
When did we need
I
that
would
in?
be shocked. I think it's June 6th
Oh boy, I better do that.
for Minnesota elk. Yeah, it's only $5.
Yeah, it's cheap.
But you have most areas the better ones, you have, there's 2 tags. In the better areas, like 700 to 800 people apply. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a customer here that he came in like last year and he's like, yeah, I drew the Minnesota elk tag. I'm like, really? Like, that's pretty rare.
Yeah,
and
super rare.
This was like the year before and he actually was successful. I'm like, do you know the percentages of that? And the guy honestly had no idea. He's like, no, I just thought it was pretty sweet. I'm like, let me just show you the DNR stats real quick. I'm like, you're kidding me.
That's pretty far up north, right?
Yeah,
where?
it's right on the border.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean,
It's right on the border.
I guess I think of things in perspective now, like driving
Yeah.
10 hours to go to, out west and hunt, or,
Yeah.
Nebraska, what was that, like 6 hours, 7 hours?
We were looking at like 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say way up north is whatever now. If I'm staying in the States, like whatever, I'll do it today.
Well, and it's kind of one of those hunts too, where you get a hold of the local DNR and they'll tell you where the herd is, and you just have to, if it's private, you just got to get permission. And most of the landowners are fine with it anyways, because that's part of the reason why they keep the numbers down, because of the depredation they have in the fields, and they wreck fences and all that kind of stuff. So most landowners are more than willing to let you hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that if they don't have a point system, but I know that for the people who have applied for 10 years or more, they get put into the pool, or they get drawn first.
Okay.
So if you've been in for a while, you've got
Yeah,
a
but
better
not
shot
consistently.
in a way. Yeah, I think I've applied maybe 6 years or something like that. So, but that would be super cool if I drew that. Aside from that, though, I just kind of figured I'm not drawing anything. Maybe that's a sign that I should take a break. I'll hunt whitetails and stuff like that. But since we're talking about the Dakotas, I thought I would tell a quick story about what I call the Thanksgiving buck. Shot it on Thanksgiving Day, and kind of a cool story. I'm hunting with my buddy Ben, and I had been hunting with him for several years up to that point. And going back to what I was telling you guys about how we decide who's going to take a stock or whatever. Well, we didn't really have to do much deciding, because he was always spotting them before I could. Because he had, you start to figure out what you're looking for, and he would always spot them before me every time. I could never. And then so he was like, well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to shoot him, but do you want to shoot him? I'm like, heck yeah, I do. And he's clear across this draw. I mean, he's got to be a mile away. I don't know. Super far away, right? But I was just like, all right, let's just start closing in on him, start closing ground. So we kind of worked our way over there and tried to get into position. And the other cool thing about closing that ground is you'll bump other deer too, which sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I don't want to bump deer, but man, they just kind of circle around you and come back.
Yep.
Oftentimes, they like to stick to that core area, especially during the rut, right? And if there's does in there and there's a hot doe, they're not going to go anywhere. So. But on our way over there, we spot this buck and had these 2 sticker points coming out. I think of his G2s. I can't remember. I've got his dead head at home, which that I'll lead to that part of the story. So it was like, okay, do I keep going after the buck I'm originally going after, or do I try to go after this guy? Well, he was kind of sitting up on top of this, or out in this point, and he was looking right at us. So I'm like, okay, we're already busted, so let's just keep moving. So we go over there and we're trying to find this buck and can't find him and didn't have any luck. And there's a bunch of cattle. There's free range cattle out in this area. So they're milling around and stuff. And Ben starts getting, impatient, starts getting bored, and starts picking up cow pies and throwing them at the cows, and starts chasing after him, pretending he's a bull and making all kinds of noise and stuff. And so he chases this whole herd of cattle down this draw, right? Just makes sounds like a freight train going through the woods, chases him down through this area, whatever. And so then we're just like, all right, well, we didn't, we're not going to get him, so let's just start working our way out. So we start working our way out, and we get up on this point, and we look across, and we can see the buck. And he's probably, well, Ben ranges him. It was like 92 or 93 yards, something like that, right? And it's like, all right, well, I was like, that's too far. I can't take that shot. And at that time, we had been doing exhibition shoots ahead of Tom Knapp at Game Fair.
I was going to say, is this Game Fair?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So before the 100-yard shoot, before they were doing that as a competition out at Game Fair, me and Randy Herman and Frank Welsh and Eric Nathy and I think it was just us. And so we would shoot balloons at 100 yards just to entertain the crowd while they were waiting for Tom Knapp to come out. What's his name? Ron Shera would be kind of emceeing the whole thing, whatever.
Oh.
So we were practicing a ton out on Nathy's property, shooting at 100 yards, 120 yards, practicing a ton. And so Ben just looks at me. For like the first time in history, there's no wind in North Dakota. And he's like, dude, the conditions are perfect. You can make that shot. I was like, oh, man, I don't know. I'm like, all right, dial in my sight, pull back. I got all the time in the world, right? Just take my time, breathe, everything, pull the trigger. The arrow literally left the brim, like I couldn't see it. It went over the brim of my hat, so I completely lost sight of the arrow. And then all of a sudden I see it come down, it drops down like a bomb.
Oh.
And, and they're so far away, I have no idea what happened. They all run off. And I'm like, yeah, right. This ain't happening, but all right, let's go over there and look. So we go over there and look, and there's blood. And I'm like, no way. We're looking around. We can't find my arrow. We can't find it. And we kind of can hear some commotion going down in the pines in this draw. So it was like, well, let's just back out. We'll come back in the morning. So we backed out, come back, and there he was. He was dead right there.
Jeez.
Within, I don't know, maybe 45, 50 yards of where I shot him.
Jesus.
And it was
That's
a perfect
insane.
shot.
That's nuts.
Right in the heart?
No,
Right in the
it wasn't.
lungs?
No, but it was, yeah.
Right in the pump station?
Yep. Right.
Double lung?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember. I don't know.
But he's dead.
Wherever that arrow went, I can't remember because it's been so long now. I think it was 2012. So we're talking 11 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But that's the buck that's hanging out here in the pro shop. One of two. The other one's from South Dakota. So
And there was no snow, was there?
no snow.
Yeah, I hunted a week before Rick, like before Thanksgiving, and I had 3 feet of snow I was going through.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had I would say about half the years I've hunted out there's snow on the ground, and the other years and it can be a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah,
It
I
can-
loved it.
It can quiet your footsteps. It can make them louder. It can, it's nice when you shoot something. It's easy to track. But
Yep.
man, if you get a hot day that glazes over the top, it's so crunchy, and it's like,
Yeah.
you may as well just not even bother. Just go home because
Yeah, I had that, and that was terrible. The herd hears you, no problem. And then it's also great, though, because it's just like a huge, it's just like looking at a black speck on a white piece of paper. I mean, it's just like, oh, right there. It cuts all the work out. But,
Yeah.
dude, it's, when the crunchy snow's there, oh, my God, it killed me every time. It's just like that one that we also put a stock on 100 yards away, and it's like my buddy's knee rolls over because we're sick of, kneeling on the ground, and that dude looks right up, and I'm like, God dang it.
So that brings
It's
me
bad.
back to what I was with that buck that I shot to. What's nice is if you are hunting in an area that has cattle, right? The deer are kind of used to hearing some of that noise, so that can help mask some of that. Because all the goofing around Ben and I were doing up there, it didn't alert the deer because they were used to the cattle being in there and moving around. So that can be helpful. I mean, there's been times where we've literally pretended to be a cow. Like, he gets in front like this, and then I get down behind him and try to create the back of a cow, and then we try to run across a clearing, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
we've pulled it off. Like,
That's
they don't
nuts.
know we're people because we're,
Right. These deer were staring at my buddy and I. Like, we were just, like, stacked up like that, too. But it's just, the snow was so crunchy. It's like one of us would move our feet or something. They just knew right away. They were just, like, looking over there, like, what is that? And there's no cattle out there. So it's like, they knew it was, you know, the gig was up. So
Me and my buddy Cal used to have a lot of fun with one of those moo cow Montana decoys.
I was just going to say, was it
yeah,
the
I've seen
Montana
those.
decoy?
Yeah, we would just goof around and stock up on does and stuff. And I remember there was a buck once that kind of caught us up on this. We were climbing up this ridge, and all of a sudden we look over, and there's this whitetail kind of out of place a little bit, just staring at us. And I'm like, shoot, man, what do we do? And he just like pulls the moo cow out from his pack and then just pops it open. It didn't work, but the buck was still standing there like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Transformed into
Or
a
like
cow.
making it pretend to eat, you know.
I imagine
he's not
hunting with
convinced.
Ben has just got to be stupid fun.
Oh man, he's a riot. He
I'm
definitely
sure.
has a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. I miss hunting with him. I hope I can get out and hunt with him again sometime soon. But
Should have him hook you up with the Montana tags.
yeah, we've talked about it, but man, that's a lot of money.
It is. That's what's keeping me out of there right now.
And that brings us to shiny objects. This is our segment where we talk about our current or new obsession or some new product or something in our world that is really exciting or that we're losing sleep over. We're going to start with you, Hollywood.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, boy. Well, I've been golfing a lot lately now that I'm done, so with turkeys. But no, I usually do the golfing thing in the summers now. But I'd say my shiny object right now is probably just getting back into the target stuff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys saw I'm just
Yeah.
back chasing after the paper.
That's good.
Hopefully take out Broadwater next year. So I'm just kidding. I'll never be
I think
that
you
good.
got a chance.
But yeah, no, I think that's my big thing right now. I mean, it's kind of slower season, so there's not a lot of companies are releasing stuff either. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of the time to R&R. Back, I think you said this a couple episodes ago, but arrow customizers, that's kind of the fun thing right now. But yeah, for myself, I'm just heavily focused on fixing myself with paper. So not that I have target panic, it's just knowing every single step, like thing that my body's doing, just to know I can do it every single time. So
Right.
for 60 arrows. So
And that helps with hunting season too.
oh
quite a
yeah,
bit.
definitely. Cause yeah, I mean, totally. I didn't even think of it till you just said that. But like when I drew back on that bird, I'm just like, okay, shoulders back, aim, get out of the aiming window, start executing shot, go, boom, and then done. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's some podcasts I listen to with good old shot IQ. So, yeah, I've been focusing a lot on that stuff. So I guess that's my thing right now.
No, that's good. That's good. With some of these new ideas that are coming out and all that kind of stuff, it's good to get back into it and really start to figure this stuff out. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially since it's slower.
yeah, exactly. What about you guys?
Right now, I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I always got to ask. Right now, my shiny object is probably TAC, Total Archery Challenge. I leave tomorrow. I'm hopping on a plane and going to Pennsylvania.
It's awesome.
So we'll be filming out there, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting, like fun though, like a good interesting, because I've never been to a TAC. I've never met a lot of the people out there, and I've never got to experience it. So luckily, work brought me there. So I'll be filming out there and be filming with Chris. I met Chris B last year.
Yeah.
I filmed his Kentucky hunt, and he's an awesome guy, and he's allowed me to do quite a bit of work for him, a little bit here and there.
That's
so
cool.
So it's fun. So that's what I'm excited about, because I leave tomorrow at 7 a.m. So I got to get home and pack. And
That's so cool. When
Get
you told me
going.
that today, I was like, what? No
so
way.
I'll be out there for a couple days and then head back. And I'm done with school. I'm excited with that. Don't have to worry about that anymore. And just kind of scouting deer and getting cameras out and putting minerals out. And that's what I'm excited for too when I
Yeah.
get back. There's a lot of preparation work to be done.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit jealous of the TAC. I was hoping we'd go to South Dakota, but Damon's going to be gone. So, I'm excited for summertime shooting. Get out and shoot some long range and
Yeah.
just, I don't know, shoot. Start running stuff for deer. And I bought a camera, so more behind the scenes
Oh, yeah.
stuff. and
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
you'll see a lot of that. He got a camera. like a week ago?
No, probably
Or
a couple weeks ago now.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm stoked.
a lot
Right
more
on.
angles and a lot more content coming out on the page.
Yeah, man.
So that's good. And like you said, shooting, we need to start practicing long distance like now. What's yours?
Oh, I suppose I should talk about mine, huh?
Shiny objects, man.
It's sitting right there.
We alluded to it a little bit earlier, but it's, my new bow finally showed up. I ordered it, gosh, I don't know, back in December, something like that. PSE Mach 34.
Here it comes.
It's green. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I don't know, I can't see the camera, so I can't see
I
what's
gotcha.
on here, but
It's partially, right there.
Sweet.
there she be.
I love the white
The white axe.
text on
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
limb. Yeah, it looks awesome.
Sweet.
And it's light. I felt it. It's very light.
Yeah, so we got the Stoker Eyes M1 stabs on here, the 8s. Got one out front, one out back, but I don't know. I'm going to have to play around. I don't think they balance right, so I'm going to have to change that up a little bit. Got the Gen 7X on here because this is one of the few bows on the market right now that our GI8 does not fit on because of the roller guard there. But my wife inspired the color. Her favorite color is green, so she helped me decide on that. And went with the Coca-Cola and silver on the strings and cables, and that's about it. Got the EC2 cam on it. I originally had the S2 cam when I ordered it, but Hollywood and I went and shot some bows. We shot them at the ATA show, and I was like, oof, it was a little too stiff. So decided to go with the EC2. It's a little smoother draw. And
What sight you thinking of throwing on that?
I'll probably just transfer over
The Kingpin?
my Kingpin, my
Yeah.
optimizer, HHA. Haven't got on the dialed bandwagon yet. You got Team HHA over on this side of the table and Team Dialed over there. So
They make a color match for that, I believe.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, it would look really good. You could probably get like a brown dial on it too. I'm already thinking about the setup I'd run. That's sweet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I haven't even shot it yet. I was hoping to shoot it before this so I could talk a little bit about that, but haven't had a chance. And obviously, like you said, I don't have a sight on it yet or anything. So excited to get that out and start shooting and goof around and get some shots through it on my lunch break. And
That's sweet.
now that we're starting to get the podcast kind of dialed in and figuring out how to the process of getting everything going quickly, I look forward to getting that out, and hopefully we can all start dropping some bombs.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely should get together and shoot
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
a lot more.
Bunker, or I still want to know if we can figure out a way that we can shoot out on the side
Out
of the
here.
building here. If we
It's hard to
built
say.
something like what A1 has. you
Yeah.
know,
Big old
where-
berm.
Yeah, where you can only shoot so high, and that way
Right.
you can ensure that your arrows aren't going to go flinging. But I don't know if Anoka will have that.
Yeah, I've already been shooting the 80 yards over at Bunker. Just getting ready. Just,
yeah.
I don't know what. When the summer comes out, I'm just like you, Griff, where I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready to send some bombs. Like,
Yeah.
Bunker doesn't even go far enough. I'm just like, give me the 120 that my sight tape runs to. Like, I actually have 130, but I might have clearance issues. But I'm like, dude, give me the distance. Like,
That's what
I
happens
want
when
to
you
see
shoot
it.
an 80-pound bow.
Yeah, exactly. With my
You
short
can just,
draw.
You can just fling.
Yeah, a lighter arrow, but nothing with that crazy FOC stuff.
I'm still at
right.
60 pounds. I might get new limbs, honestly, because I feel like I could bump it up. I'm confident, and I want to get a little bit more speed.
Yeah, I'd say just like be mindful for cold weather.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
everyone always hits me on that. They're like, "Can you do it in cold weather?" I'm like, "I wouldn't be shooting this if I
If
couldn't."
you can't.
So, and if I can't, then I guess I'll just turn some limb bolts out. Otherwise, I'd run a 75-pound bow.
Yeah.
No
Right.
big deal. Like,
It's
Just make sure you're comfortable.
Still gonna go in the deer and
yeah, yeah. I've killed deer at 50 pounds and 40 even, I think. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're good. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. We should probably cut it short here. We're almost hitting 2 hours. So,
Time flies.
yeah. Well, folks, you can find the Range Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. Head over and give us a follow on both those pages. You can give me a follow at ricky.wayne80 on IG and Ricky W. Bruley on Facebook.
For me, Jake Ivy 3 on Instagram and Jake Iverson with the Hollywood in parentheses on Facebook. And these boys,
Yeah, we got All41 Creative on Instagram, and then Griffen_Laaveg on Instagram.
Yeah, what he said. Yeah, All41 Creative, look it up. You can find us there. We try and post a few times a week. Right now we're struggling a little bit with lost footage, but you can find us on there. You can find me at All41_Damon, Damon. So
definitely go check them out, guys.
Yes.
Check out their content. They're very talented.
Sweet stuff.
Yeah, and you'll also see a lot of their content coming up on our pages here as well. And again, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe so you can be up to date on all things archery. And with that, we are going to pack up our bows and arrows, and we're going to leave the range. Have a great day, everybody.
thank you.
Peace.
Vapor Trail is now offering an exclusive discount to the Range Podcast listeners. Enter promo code TRP15, that's TRP15, at checkout for 15% off VTX bowstrings and Vapor Trail and Stoke Rise branded t-shirts, hats, and other gear.